The toddler ran out of juice in her sippy cup, so the mom filled it with Monster. Oh my god, dude.
Monster energy! Put it in your body and ask questions later. It's green, so it's nature.
Hello friends, welcome back to ReddX, Trace Amounts of Science, etc, etc. We're getting into some r/AskReddit today with some of the worst date stories that people have been on, because I really love bad date stories, and dating hell, it ain't what it used to be, so we'll take it where we can get it. Thanks so much for being here. Let's check it out. OP Goes So Loud clarifies this is a post that was shared in a different thread, but I went on a date with a girl from OkCupid. It was late-ish, around 9 p.m., and she sent me a message out of the blue. We talked for a while, and she wanted to meet up with food. I hadn't had dinner yet, so I agreed. We were to meet at a local diner. Hey, y'all ain't eating until 9 p.m.? That's crazy.
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me, though.
Her profile picture was reasonable, not my typical type, but not awful. What showed up, however, was, not great. Come on, you give her a chance. She was that profile picture girl once upon a time with the MySpace angles and the airbrushing. She was about 5'2", somewhere between 190 to 210 pounds. Rotund is the best word. And I guess that would have been fine if she wasn't so toadish. I'm trying to be nice here. Bro, I'm telling you, you need to ease up on the brake. Like, the video just started. We're just, you coming out the gate swinging like this? Come on. Come on. I'm sure she's nice. Sit down, have a piece of pie or three with her. You know? You might like it. OP says, that would have also been okay, but it wasn't just her. She brought along her friend, a 16-year-old. I was 22, she was 20. To compound that, her friend had brought her toddler along. Oh, and also her friend had brought another friend.
Whoa, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, she's just trying to squeeze it for 3 free meals, essentially. I'm not the one. I'm about to slip out the bathroom window. So here I am with 3 girls and a toddler that I don't know. All 3 of the girls had brought Monster Energy into the restaurant with them. We sat down at the table and it just went downhill from there. Where else would it go? The toddler ran out of juice in her sippy cup, so the mom filled it with Monster. Oh my god, dude.
Monster energy! Put it in your body and ask questions later. It's green, so it's nature.
That's bad choices. She then let the toddler play with the sugar container, one of the shaker-style ones, big cylinder with a little flappy thing, and yeah, the toddler promptly poured sugar all over the table and started licking it up. Oh, lovely. Meanwhile, all the girls are laughing at the toddler and having a great time. They're talking amongst each other and not even attempting to include me in the conversation. After about 5 minutes of them ignoring me, they started talking about guys from high school. Long story short, I ate half a chicken sandwich, excused myself, apologized to the hostess/waitress for the mess and the awful people, left a $50 bill, and got the hell out. Honestly, just well advised. I don't understand why we would even tolerate this. Why would you sit down? Like, this is not what I agreed to, but I don't know. I guess he was just willing to see how it goes. Don't feed your kids Monster. That's what I'll say. It's so wild. At least it was mercifully short, but don't worry, there's plenty in here. User Benimation says, one time I went on an OkCupid date and everything was normal until the end. Okay. Well, that's a better batting average than most people get on OkCupid, I think. She was a cute blonde girl that liked some of the things that I liked. We seemed to make each other laugh via OkCupid chat, so I asked her if she wanted to meet, and she said, sure. We met up at the Elephant and Castle in San Francisco. It's a popular bar and has enough room for private conversations. I was kind of nervous and didn't want to drink because I was on medication, but she called me out, so I ordered what she ordered, a pear cider. Dude, you gotta let someone peer pressure you into drinking? That's not great. You're on medication, for God's sake. What happens if you know what, it's fine. Can't live your life for it. You're making these choices. I just think it's the wrong one. We go upstairs and nervously talk. At first it was awkward, but we both seemed to loosen up pretty quickly. She has a darker sense of humor than I expected, bringing up topics like burned bodies discovered on the side of the road and making jokes. I'm into it, and I play along too. Yeah, I'm pretty into burned bodies discovered on the side of the road. That's that's one of my peak interests.
I ever tell you about the time Keith tried to deep fry a turkey? Third-degree burns over 90% of his body.
Everything seems completely fine and normal, and I start maybe even to like her, and she touches me playfully, and it just seems completely normal and easy. And then suddenly, without anything weird being said or anything happening, no phone call or emotion or reaction, she just gets up and walks away rapidly. I was so confused by the suddenness, I thought maybe I'd missed something she said and followed her through the crowded bar as she increased her speed. The burned bodies thing was a test, dude. You're not supposed to be into it. Now she thinks you're a weird serial killer, okay? And you chased her through a restaurant? Oh, no. Oh, why would you do it, Benimation? She never looked back at me or anything. She just kept going for the door. I thought maybe she was having a panic attack or something like that, but we got outside and she was completely fine. It was a fugue state like Walter White.
Holy mother of God!
She kept walking away at top speed, and when I finally said, "Hey, wait a moment," she turned around with this look on her face like she didn't know who I was and said, "Yes?" Maybe she's got like severe brain damage of some sort. I don't know. You don't really know her whole story. Maybe she just wanted to get out of there and this was a good excuse. That can make sense too. OP says, I was like, that was just so sudden. I mean, I wanted to say goodbye. Maybe we could shake hands or something? I didn't really know what to say, and I tried to make a joke, thinking about the least intimate greeting. She said, "Why?" as she stuck out her hand and put it in mine awkwardly. Then she turned around and again hightailed it out of there. I took a minute and looked at her walk away and tried retracing my steps of what we said and did and trying to think of why she reacted like that. It was the burned bodies thing, dude. What are you, stupid? That's like, unless you know she's into true crime podcasts, that's all she listens to. You probably shouldn't be into the burned bodies. Even if she does, you can't be into the burn because there can only be one of you that's into it. Otherwise, she'll think that you're plotting on her because all she does is listen to true crime. So if you're into it too, she's like, oh no, whatever, who cares? It's a working theory. And I really did feel like I must be the crappiest person ever. What I didn't notice while thinking was that there was this huge crowd of people smoking outside the bar. I mean, it must have been 50 people just all around the bar, and we'd been standing right in the center of them. I didn't notice at first, but after she left, they all started cracking jokes about me. Like tons and tons of jokes, and it was like suddenly I could hear them. So I kind of looked around me, realizing what was happening, until I recognized that the jokes were about me. Aw, just keep your chin up, buddy. Stiff upper lip, you know? Don't let him see you cry. Don't let him see you sweat.
Oh my God, are you crying?
No, it's just raining.
Finally, one very tall black dude smoking a clove shouted loudly, "Oh shit, Romeo! You fucked that up! Look how fast that bitch walking away!" Everyone just erupted in laughter. It's pretty funny though. I was so double stunned that I just kinda walked away slowly back toward the BART station. As I walked around, I heard that same voice yell, "Oh shit! That hurt that guy's feelings? I'm sorry, brother!" That's not the worst date I've been on, but it was the one that I think about a lot in the shower when I feel depressed. Yeah, a bit of public shaming. That's a great way to end a date. But I don't know, man. Happens to the best of us. I don't know if chasing her down through a crowded bar is the way that I'd choose to go necessarily, but good on you, you know? Jerkmenistan asks him, "What the fuck? Did you ever get an explanation?" And Ben says, "No, I never saw her again."
What the fuck?
Yeah, that is what he said. And that's kind of what it makes me say. But also, like, she wanted to go. That's fine. I'm sticking with my brain damage fugue state theory. At least that makes this pill a little bit easier to swallow. Not To Republic says I went on a Tinder date with a guy who's now in my contacts as do not answer dong pic. Prior to the date, he seemed normal. We texted and talked on the phone, and then arranged to meet at a restaurant/bar. He was cute, but definitely bitter about something. He was from California, and apparently didn't like this new city that we were in. He started talking about doing it, and mouth stuff, and complaining how uptight everyone is here about doing it. Oh yeah, dude, I'm from California. It's so free and easy. Fuck you. You're why everybody hates Californians. Do you understand?
I don't want to hear another word! You're a disgrace to the game!
He invited the waitress to a party that his company was throwing after sending back the French fries that he ordered. While on a date? Dude, that's shameless. You sat there and allowed that shit? Opie says I showed him a picture of my dog on my phone, and then he took out his phone and showed me a picture of his sausage. Okay. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. And what a tiny, pathetic straw it is. We walked out of the restaurant together to get our cars from the valet. My car came first, and I left. He texted me later that he had my sweater. Apparently I dropped it on the way out, and if I wanted to see it again, I'd have to hang out with him. Yeah, rip, sweater. we ain't going through all that. I'll buy another sweater, okay? It's really mystifying to me how some people could be so shameless about it, but then again, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised in these days and times. Maybe I'm just a relic at this point, an old boomer reading stupid date stories off a stupid Reddit thread. But I'm enjoying myself, so I'm gonna keep going.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit!
This OP says, it happened to my cousin. No, not me, my cousin. And this is a wall of text, dude. I will tell this story until the day I die. Her and I lived together at the time. She worked at a tanning salon. She mentions this guy, Vaughn, that starts coming in. And he's really hot. And he always flirts with her. So I guess 2 weeks after back and forth flirting, Vaughn asks her out on a date. She comes home, gets all prettied up. I wish her luck. Tell her to please call me if she decides to stay over so I know she's okay. She's a few years younger than me, and I have no idea who this guy is. Anyway, you need to do a little more OPSEC than that, OP. Take a picture of his license plate. She ends up calling me about 5 hours later, hysterical, bawling her eyes out, can't understand a word. All I can make out is, I'm at the hospital, my car is at blah 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 address, just please go get it and pick me up. So my boyfriend and I go get her car. We drop it off at our house. Then my boyfriend decides to pick up a couple buddies of his along the way because it sounds like someone needs an ass kicking. We had no idea what was actually going on. Yeah, just get ready to fight some people, all right? We get to the hospital and she's outside shivering. A man is standing near her, but not beside her. He looks worried and she looks like hell. She jumps in the car and screams, "Just drive!" Me, being mad as hell, say to the guy, "Are you Vaughn?" And he looks like he's about to cry at any second. He says, "Yeah, please don't be mad. I brought her here. I had to. She didn't want me to. Let me explain." My cousin is in absolute hysterics at this point, punching the back of the seat. "Please go!" But I said, I don't have time to listen to you. She wants to go home, and I need to take care of her. So we drive home. Yeah, well, seems like you are missing part of the story. I think I'm a bit too much of a meddler to just leave it at that. So yeah, we drive home, and I keep asking her, what the fuck happened? Please tell me. Did he hurt you? Do we need to call the cops? And her response is, no, please, nothing like that. I'll tell you at home. Not in front of other people. So I left it at that. I was dying inside to know, though. We get home, and I tuck her in bed and give her some tea, try to calm her down. Oh, a bit of sleepy time tea. Love it. Every time she tries to start explaining, she buries her face and cries. Finally, I get it out of her. After she left our house, she met him at his house. They talked and had a coffee, and he asks what she would like to do. She suggests a movie, and he says, okay, well, let's go to Blockbuster. So they go to Blockbuster, and this is where it all starts. Oh, she picked up the special gummy bears from Blockbuster. A little bit of an existential crisis. Ego death. You don't need to go to the hospital for it, though you might feel like it. Anyway, they pick up their movie and head to the cashier. She says she doesn't feel so good and remembers waking up on the floor. Vaughn told her she passed out and hit her head pretty hard on the counter. She said he was begging her to go to the hospital right then and there. She says, oh, no, I'll be fine. Let's just go watch the movie. He agrees. No, check her pupils, dude. Are they the same size? He's walking around with a concussion out here? No. They get back to his place, and he keeps asking if she's all right, if she would please change her mind and go to the hospital. She says no over and over. She says she doesn't remember falling asleep, but she guessed that's what happened because suddenly she wakes up needing to shit and vomit, and she has no idea the layout of this guy's house, so she scrambles to the floor, feeling dizzy again, starts crawling, literally asking where the washroom is. He tries picking her up to take her, but she said she couldn't hold back and threw up all over the floor. All over him, crapped in her pants. She starts crying. She said he was so concerned. He didn't even care. He just took her to the bathroom to finish. While they do make it to the bathroom, they don't quite make it to the toilet, and she shits like a parrot all over the walls.
Oh my god! My house is full of shit! He shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
Is that something parrots are known to do? Okay. He gently closes the door and says, pass me your clothes, and he has something for her to wear. She agrees and does so. She said she stopped vomiting and pooping and finally agreed to go to the hospital. It's a little late for all that, isn't it? He takes her, and then shortly after, I got the phone call. While she's telling me this, I'm laughing so hard, crying, rubbing her head, wondering if this is all a joke. No, because they ended up getting married, and we bring this up at least once every year. I mean, that's a trooper, dude. Honestly, this is best case scenario. I don't understand why OP passed out, though. Like, are you dehydrated? Are you epileptic? Or I'm mystified. Is she on some sort of medication for that now? OP has an edit here, but I don't care to read it. The Bool of Fools said, I really appreciate the happy ending. Vaughn sounds like a good guy. That's real. OP says he truly is. He even brought her clean clothes and a few days later to her work. Bless his little heart. Is he a short guy? Is that why he called his heart little? It's normal size. It's a human size, just like everybody else's. A flaw amended also says, any guy that's more concerned about a person and not the fluids on him and everywhere has a pretty damn big heart. Glad they got together in the end. How long till the second date happened? Doesn't matter. I do know that it happened, and probably relatively, swiftly at that. You find somebody who's that real and that caring and has already seen you in your worst moment. The fact that it was a first date's really unfortunate, but that's what an extended relationship is. The mask comes off. You really find out who the other person is, you know? I'm not going to tell you about the time that my wife has seen me in a similar state and had to tend to me, but she has. It happened at her fucking aunt's house. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. But yeah, nobody judged me for it. Nobody made me feel bad about it. That's when I was like, okay, you guys are real ones, you know? And also, hey, if you're listening to this, you're a real one too. Do you listen to the podcast services? Spotify, iTunes, we're out there. We're everywhere. Go check us out if you would. Please and thank you. And we will continue on into some more bad date stories. Some of these are really good, dude. I think this was a great idea. Shout out to Arif, co-host of the Sunday Funday live streams. Anyway, moving on. Mountain High 522 says blind date. He suggested this swanky French restaurant he said he loved, which thrilled me to my marrow, as I love French food and wine. Dude, the French do kill it. Their secret is butter everything, but, Yeah, it's really delicious.
Add butter. 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 Add butter.
When we got to our table, I picked up the wine list, and he looked at me with this contemptuous look and said, I don't drink. So, feeling judged, I ordered a water. He then said, we should split an entree because the prices here are ridiculous. And I'm thinking, now, wait a minute. You picked this place, and you said it was your favorite, meaning you knew damn well what the price point was, and if you couldn't afford it, why didn't we go somewhere else instead? I think he's suggesting there that you pay for your own meal, and seeing how that's received, not well. I can tell, not well. Opie says, obviously I was planning on paying half the check. I don't ever assume that the date is going to pay for me. Damn. Built different. Respect. I called that one wrong. Fucking faced. So yeah. We even joked about this during the phone call a few days prior. So he knew that I didn't expect him to pay for me. And I was like, hungry. But I just shrugged. He told me to pick 3 things that sounded good, and we would share one. So I told him my 3 choices, and when the server came back, he ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, which was not one of the things I had selected. That's so hilarious. He wants to be the guy so bad, but he doesn't have the stuff to back it up. Talk a big game. We shared our tiny meal and split the check. $12 each. Was this just like hors d'oeuvres? This ain't a real meal. You can't get a real meal for $12. Ludicrous. The conversation was stilted and awkward, and he answered all my questions with one-word answers. Eventually, I felt like I was interrogating him, and we just sat there in silence. Afterwards, he asked if I wanted to go see some live music at a jazz bar down the road. Thinking optimistically, I agreed. But when we got to the club, he found out that there was a $5 cover charge. He told me that, we should probably just skip the club. Is he, like, just a skinflint? I don't understand. $5 ain't that bad. Maybe it is for him. I don't know his situation. Maybe you shouldn't be dating if you're in a situation where like $5 to $20 can make or break you. If that's the case, a lot of things got to change, okay? I'm not trying to pressure or call out anybody, but, you know, this is just me kind of hoping that you never have to go through it. And if you do, then it's quick. Anyway, after not going to the jazz club, he said, I mean, do you really have to do something else? Or we could just call it a night, as though I'd been all high maintenance and demanding. This an hour after I arrived, and I'd driven almost 2 hours to get there. We parted ways, and I went off to go dancing with some friends instead. Okay, obviously dude was flat broke, which I'm not going to hold against anyone, because I've so been there, but if you can't afford to date, maybe you shouldn't. Or like, go to Chili's. Chili's would have been fine. Yeah, you're still paying for ridiculously overpriced entrees at Chili's. Best I could do is a Del Taco, you know? You can get the $6 burrito or whatever it is.
Get to Del Taco. They got a new thing called free shavacadoo.
It's a really good burrito. Fills you up nice. Unlimited refills. And we're getting out of here for a mint. We can still afford the Jazz Club. Up top. And I would go top for that shit because I truly love being cheap. My wife loves it more than I do, but I do love it. I hope you get to go to Chili's next time, OP. Show you what Chili's is really like. That sounds so needlessly threatening. Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. I smell like coconut says I went on a date with a guy who seemed really cool. He used to race bikes until he landed on his head after attempting a jump. Oh, see the brain damage thing I had earlier? it's coming into play now. During the date, he told everyone that we were on a date. Everyone. He told me that he wanted to end his ex-roommates. He asked the waitress to make the date more romantic, so she brought out a giant ice cream sundae, meant for 2 people to share, and he ate it all by himself and spilled ice cream all over himself. You're supposed to, like, spoon some to your partner, do you not? You missed out on that part of the note. You're like, what, you don't have a spoon? I'm not sharing my spoon. You got germs. This is how he makes it more romantic. He's a special case. I shouldn't laugh. He bragged about beating the world record for the jump on which he landed on his head. He kept asking if I was a gold digger, 'cause he makes tons of money and he needs to protect himself. Yeah, I'm sure a real gold digger would just come out and tell you straight up, I am only in it for your money. Well, I appreciate your candor. Take some money and go. He also demanded separate bills, no big deal, but you put it on the list anyway, didn't you, OP? All 4 of his credit cards were declined. Oof. Asked me if I didn't mind paying and said he'd get it next time. Not that there would ever be a next time. He told everyone that the date went, quote-unquote, splendidly. Did he affect a British accent when he fell on his head? He gave me stickers to his welding company as a thank you for paying, since his credit cards must have had some kind of error. Edited to add the sticker I got for paying for my dates tab. Well, I gotta have a look at that shit. Come on. And the free plug? He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing the whole time. Oh, look at that sticker. Ain't that a fucking sticker? Wow. Not even die cut. Just a square piece of shit. Great job. Quality craftsmanship. But again, I shouldn't be mean. He's fallen on his head. That is true. I can tell. The ice cream thing is what really reminded me. Anyway, next post. Proto Jazz says, finally, a place to tell this story. Oh, looking forward to hear it. I had a very disappointing date in high school. It was the dead of winter, like negative 40 Celsius. What the? Is that even possible? Holy shit.
It's frickin' freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth.
We'd gone to a movie and the whole thing was really awkward. She didn't really seem to want to be there and was very detached. After the movie and the bus trip home, she admitted that the only reason she even agreed to the date with me is because my friend had turned her down a few days earlier, which I wasn't aware of at the time, and that was a pretty big letdown and a waste of time. Yeah, what a bitch to just come out and say it, you know? You could have kept that nugget to yourself for a while longer. But OP says, I figured whatever. I'll head on home and find something else to spend my time on. I'll get over it eventually. I got off the bus and just wanted to get home as soon as possible. At the bus stop, there's a thigh-high railing around the front of the nearby parking lot, and instead of walking around it, I decided to step onto and then over it. Why onto? Just directly over is way better. It's not fucking parkour, bro.
Parkour!
Well, the second I stepped onto it, I realized that it was coated in ice. I Charlie Browned the fuck out. Just flipped through the air, lost everything in my pockets, ripped my pants from the beehole to the zipper, and then came down hard right onto the railing with my shin, fracturing it. It's still negative 40 out. I can't just lay there until help comes, so I fish around in the snow and grab my shit, try to stuff my balls back into my pants and stagger home. TLDR, it's not me, it's you, limped home balls in the wind. That sucks, dude. That's like insult on top of injury, or vice versa. Sorta you did it to yourself, but you weren't in your right mindset, you know? You're not making rational decisions out here. I just feel bad for OP overall. I hope you found somebody that will give you the love and respect that you deserve, okay? Nobody deserves to be told to their face like, yeah, I only went on a date with you to spite your friend. Well, aren't you just the most terrible person ever? Like, be glad that you're not in a relationship with that person, obviously, but it's just a blow to the ego. Why you gotta do that to a young man? Fucking sabotage him like that. It's no good, come on! But I don't know, shit happens sometimes, I guess. Anyway, this deleted OP says, we met on a dating website and went to a sushi place for dinner. He was an asshole. And he told me this repeatedly. Almost everything he said ended with, I know I'm an a-hole, but at least I'm honest, right? Yeah, he's party demon. Whoa! First story he tells me is how he really only joined the dating website to troll people. But then he saw me and thought, whoa, I'm gonna go give a real date a shot. Gee, thanks. All his other stories were equally awful. Yeah, he's just pumping that ego up. See, this is the guy who should get told at the end of the date that, like, I really went on a date with you only to spite your friend. He needs the deflation of the ego. Leave the other poor fella alone. Also, OP says, I'm pretty sure that he literally thought no meant yes and yes meant no. And I don't mean that in a devious, violative kind of way. When we were at the restaurant, he absolutely insisted that I order this one thing. And I said no like 5 times, but he kept pushing for it until I just ordered it to just shut him up. I mean, it starts with forcing you to order something, and then, yeah, you don't want to know what happens next. It's not a bad look. It's a red flag, as they say.
What do we do when we see a red flag? Right, we stop!
If I say no, listen to my fucking no. And don't bend on it either, you just tell him flat out. Whatever, anyway. After the dinner, he wanted to go to the mall nearby and hang around. Yeah, look at some mall katanas. He walked around until we passed this anime/manga store. Why? Fucking why every time? He asked if I wanted to go in, and I said, sure, I like that store. He insisted that I didn't. He said that he didn't want to force me to go, and I said, no, I really do want to go in. We went in for like 2 minutes, and then he decided that he didn't want to force me to do something I didn't want to do, and practically dragged me out of the store. I didn't call him back after that. That's really weird. Were there other guys in the store? Was he insecure or something? After forcing her to eat the food that she didn't want to eat, I just don't want you to be seen in the anime shop I enjoy for so long. What the hell? Here we got another beefy one. Derivative Monster says, I was at a good-sized house party in college, and the host introduced me to his lab mate shortly after I got there. We got to talking while things were warming up. No one was tanked yet, and people were still arriving. Eventually, the lab mate asked me for my number. He was okay looking, seemed a little dull, but harmless, and so I agreed. We barely knew each other, but why not? It's college! You meet people! You have a series of terrible and meaningless friendships. He disappeared shortly after, and I didn't think much of it, because the house was decent sized, and I figured he wandered off. The party ended around 3 when we were finally out of booze. That just means you didn't buy enough booze. You gotta keep it going till the crack of dawn. At least. Nobody's even throwing up in the planter yet. The next morning around 8:30 a.m. I got a call. Barely conscious, maybe still a little bit drunk, I answered like an idiot, and it was him. He asked me out for a nice steak dinner and church that evening. Oh, that sounds nice, actually. To get him off the phone as quickly as possible so I could go back to sleep, I agreed to whatever he was asking without really understanding the question, and I awoke around noon with no real memory of the conversation. He called me a few hours later, asking for my address so he could pick me up, and the memories came flooding back. I gave it to him, hastily showered, put on makeup and a nice outfit, regretting agreeing to this, but looking forward to the steak. That is so straightforward, yes. And I went down to my apartment's garage to meet him. You would have stood him up if not for the steak, is what you're trying to tell me right now. He was dressed sort of schlubby, but I figured that's a grad student for you. I didn't think a nice place would really turn us away. As he drove, he proceeded to flip through dozens of songs, mostly Elvis, never letting even one finish, sometimes starting from the beginning of the same song several times in a row. I heard the first minute of You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog more times than I care to admit that night. Yeah, I'm pretty sure 1 is more times than I don't like it. He then revealed to me that he didn't like music, and everything on his iPod was from his dad, who was borrowing it for a road trip. It was a 64 gigabyte, pretty big for the time, and expensive, with around 100 songs on it. Dude, what you wasted so many gigabytes! Utterly bizarre and distracting. It also turned out that he didn't really like anything. Couldn't name a book he'd read since high school, or even one that he enjoyed. Didn't watch TV, but was lurking while his roommates were watching Faulty Towers, but didn't understand the humor. He didn't have a favorite movie. His reply was, "I like everything," when I asked, and he said that he liked Titanic. He didn't play video games, didn't know Harry Potter was a book series before a movie, favorite food was Taco Bell. What have I gotten into? This is a date with a fucking pod person. I want you to know that. I'm pretty sure he's an alien. His dad from the road trip, it was like an intergalactic space trip. Favorite food is Taco Bell? That's like the most unbelievable part. That's the part that broke my suspension of disbelief for real. Okay. We were heading to a nice part of town, past a couple nice restaurants, and I eagerly ask him where we're gonna end up. He replies with a vague, "Oh, you'll see." I don't like that. To keep the conversation going, I asked where he disappeared to last night. He said he left because his bedtime is at 10:30 p.m. sharp, every night. I asked if that's why he called me so early. He seemed surprised and said that he thought he'd given me time for sleeping in. Is he Amish? Up at the crack of dawn, raising barns and shit like that? That's kind of cool. He's not supposed to have that iPod, though. Opie says, my apprehension grew, and then he turned suddenly into a Denny's parking lot. Oh.
At Denny's, you get breakfast done right, because we do breakfast all day and late into the night.
We go in. Shit, I am way overdressed. We're seated. I figured I was promised steak. I am getting one, even if it's really the nastiest, most gristly slab of beef in the city. Denny's is awful. He turns to me and eagerly asks if I'm okay with splitting. I was tempted to buy each of us our own damn steak, but to be polite and not embarrass him, I agreed, resolving to eat a proper dinner at home. The steak came, we split it, I tried not to feel the judgmental eyes of the staff on me, and we proceeded to church. Bro, you actually went to the church afterwards. What a fucking trooper, you know? I would be so disappointed by the Denny's steak. Just take me home, okay? Me and Jesus do need to have a talk, but it's mostly about you. I don't want to do it in front of you. It was a Saturday night young adult service with contemporary music, and was supposed to be some sort of place for the non-secular devout to hang out on Saturday nights instead of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I guess. Whatever the heathens do. Free coffee, stale donuts. Yeah, I'm sold. During the singing, a large group of people would jump up onto the pews and furiously bounce along to the music, belting out the lyrics. Well, they're getting really into it. They're getting so into it that they're disrespecting the Lord's house. Wouldn't it be awesome if they were all just smoten? Hilarious. He really does like people standing on his chairs. Anyway, so the bad dating dope was smiling and clapping his hands along to the music, and interjected with him waving his arms in the air. I was dying a little, and I couldn't wait to leave. They had a thankfully short service on keeping yourself pure.
I just want to be pure.
And my horror grew to the point that I think I could power a small city with it. He was nodding along vigorously with the pastor, with the occasional and other sorts of agreements. Did he bring me here to convert me from my sinful ways? Damn. The evening could have gone so much worse, but thankfully he didn't ask me what I thought of the service, or maybe he was just astute enough to detect my ire. He took me home without incident. My roommates piled on, asking me how it was, and well, I told them the same thing I'm telling you here. TLDR, met a guy at a party, he was painfully dull, took me to a Denny's and church. Honestly, like for a worst date experience ever, that is hardly offensive at all. Was it the church part that got to you? He's inviting you to share in something that's clearly important to him and see if you vibe with it. Clearly you don't, that's okay. Hope you enjoyed the half a steak. The shittiest steak ever. You went all the way to Denny's and you didn't get a moons over my hammy? Oh well, you live and learn, I guess. We'll keep it moving. This post is from Best Narcissist, and he says, I met her in an adult soccer league. Asked her to grab breakfast that weekend. She accepted. Picked her up, took her to a hole-in-the-wall diner, ordered the garden omelet. Throughout the meal, she talked about all the shit that she was into. Breath play, domination, a bit of hitting, not too hard, whips and cuffs. As Kevin Hart would say, she was getting too kinky too fast.
Listen, my bulky flower, I have an early date.
I wasn't asking.
Yeah, there's some proclivities there, huh? I got the check, realized that my wallet was in my gym bag from the night before. I apologized, and she paid for us both, and I took her back to her place. She invited me in, and I couldn't refuse as she had just bought me a meal. An hour later, after the dirtiest time of my entire life up to that point, we were lying in bed when she gets a text and panics. Oh my god, you have to leave! My boyfriend gets off work early, and if he finds out, he'll kick me out! Oh, you dirty, nasty hoe. What? So this is the first I'm hearing of a significant other, and I realized that if I just banged a chick on her boyfriend's bed after she bought me breakfast with money that he probably gave her, fuck! So I throw on half my clothes, jump into my car, and knock over the mailbox in a rush to get the hell out of Dodge. When I get home, I see that my rear bumper has a nice new crack. TLDR, took a girl out for breakfast, forgot the wallet, had some far too kinky times together, found out she had a long-term boyfriend, damaged my car in my getaway, and now she keeps texting me. What's the deal? The boyfriend doesn't want to do it? I guess it's another one of her proclivities. Oh, it's so naughty. He deserves to know, bro. I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in this whole plan and leave a note on the door. I've heard quite enough of that story. I'm not gonna inquire what breath play is, because I know it's only going to further disappoint me. My faith in humanity will slip further and further away. But you know what helps me recover at least a little bit? My Patreon patrons and my YouTube members. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.